Coach Watkins, another victory Monday. Congratulations on your 49-6 win against LA Pierce.
Thank you.
I believe this is the second time we've been 3-0. Last time was in 2017, and before that, even longer, in 1973. So definitely congratulations on that. Now, tell me about the game. Tell me some of the good things that we did.
Yeah, obviously the score dictates that we won the game, which is goal number one each and every week.
Sure.
We challenged the boys this week to come out early and take care of business early, and they responded accordingly. The momentum in the game shifted right away when we blocked that first punt for a touchdown, and our boys showed up energized, ready to get after it, and I challenged them to perform, to the Olympian standard of performance, regardless of who the opponent is, and I thought that they responded very well.
Well, let's talk about that. I was going to bring it up later on in our interview about our special teams play. Once again, they come up big, scoring 7 points. This is the second consecutive game that our special teams have come up big for us. 2 minutes into the game, Dom McManus picks up the ball and brings it in for a score, and total yards on special teams 105 yards. Can you tell me again how and why it was so important to focus on that this season, especially what happened last season with our special teams?
Yeah, I believe that special teams is one of the quickest ways to change the outcome of a football game, and we made an effort this offseason to improve our special teams. We were not playing at the level in which we needed to or that we were capable of last year, and we wanted to rectify that going forward. And so Coach John Roberts has been doing an amazing job with the Wild Bunch, making it an exciting group to be a part of, trying to dictate the outcome of the game in the kicking game, which ultimately would give us an edge. Special teams oftentimes is an afterthought, and it's truly 1/3 of the game. And so we believe that emphasis has to be put into that portion of the game in order to be successful for the entirety of the team. And so he's been doing an amazing job of getting the guys to play hard, getting the guys to be excited about being a part of that group. I think it's showing on the field.
It definitely is. I mean, we've kept an eye on him this past game, and we see him running up and down the sidelines, hyping the guys up. So it's definitely a good thing to see compared to the last season where, as mentioned, we struggled quite a bit. Now let's talk to the offense side of the ball, which you run. Total offense of 433 yards. We were averaging almost 8 yards per play. What was the plan of attack against LA Pierce? And also the output of the rushing, which you mentioned at the beginning of the season that we needed to focus on. 195 yards off the ground.
Yeah, it was a really big game for our backfield on Saturday night. Part of the game is taking what they give you, and so our offense has a lot of parts to it, and so we're able to adjust and adapt during the game to what we believe is there. And we took advantage of some holes that our offensive line created. I thought the running backs ran really hard. Wide receivers blocked really good out on the perimeter. And we got the thing going downhill, and it was exciting to watch them have that success. I think we ran 5 different tailbacks Saturday night. I think 4 of them scored touchdowns. And so it's really nice to see guys have some success and be a part of that team win.
Well, 195 yards is definitely a good accomplishment, and you mentioned the offensive line, and the offensive line play the last 2 games have been very solid. This game, no sacks at all. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that Coach Ruiz have been doing with the offensive line, especially considering the turnover that we had last season? Amari Cooper going over to Rutgers, McNeil headed over through graduation as well. Tell me about Coach Ruiz's work and how this offensive line has gelled, particularly with a lot of new players.
Yeah, we have a very young offensive line this year. I believe the only guy with any playing experience at the beginning of the season was our center, Wesley Thompson. And so we broke in 4 freshmen who have been phenomenal. They're very smart, very intelligent group, which is very important at that position because the game is always moving right in front of them. They have to make adjustments on the fly. As a former offensive lineman myself, I know how important it is that those guys are ready to rock and roll week in and week out, and so we spend a lot of time making them the focus of what we're doing in the game plan. And so we're excited to have the group that we have. They get after it. They take pride in protecting the quarterback. They take pride in moving the defensive line and playing on their side of the line of scrimmage. And so we're looking forward to them continuing to mature as a group and as a unit. Coach Ruiz does a phenomenal job with his assistant, Coach Chevy. former alumni here. They do a really good job of developing these guys and fixing the issues that we may have week in and week out, whether it's schematically or fundamentally. They pride themselves on being down there in their corner of the end zone and developing sumo ninjas, big guys who are athletic and focused and precise. And so we're super excited to see them continue to develop throughout the course of the rest of the season.
Yeah, they've definitely been, a strong point in which beginning of the season, we kind of have a big question mark on it. Again, just because we had so many players moving on to a different institution. Now, we again, of course, with our offense, have to talk about our quarterbacks. We've mentioned before that we have a two-headed monster at the quarterback position. This weekend we got Joshua Pissick, a sophomore from Lincoln High, I believe.
Lincoln High up north.
Lincoln High up north, not Lincoln down here.
Yeah.
So he had some playing time today, and tell me about the shuffling of the quarterbacks, and what's the future hope or the future goals of having these guys rotate in and out.
Yeah, so like I told you guys earlier, I believe that we have a number of quarterbacks that can compete in winning games at this level. And right now, Thomas Yam and Asante Harzog are leading that charge.
Yeah.
And I think they both bring us some excitement and improved play. They're getting better each and every week. And you got to see Joshua Pissick get in there late in the game and throw the ball around a little bit and orchestrate the offense. And I thought he played really, really well for the limited amount of time that he's had on the field and reps he's had in practice. And that's a credit to our quarterback coach. Matthew Reyes does a phenomenal job with the quarterbacks. He does a really good job of working with me very closely during the week as we're game planning the defense and making sure that we're on track and making sure that the quarterbacks understand what it is we're trying to accomplish as an offense. And the quarterbacks get a lot of individual time as far as in the film room and during practice to make sure that we're all on the same page. And you can see that the quarterbacks are their play is starting to rise. They're starting to play better. And I think that, again, is attributed to Coach Reyes making sure that we're all on the same page as we get ready for Saturday evenings.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that you and I, once again, have talked about is, once the quarterback goes in, none of them have that deer in the headlights look. They're always prepared, ready to go. And it almost seems like you don't miss a beat when you rotate these players in. And I think Coach Reyes does a phenomenal job getting those guys prepared. Okay, well, now we're moving on to Grossmont College, crosstown rival.
Yeah.
They've gone to a little bit of a slow start. What do we know about them, and what are the plans for this week? Obviously, again, not going to the finer details until the end of the game. And what's going to be our strategy against Grossmont?
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to the strategy every week. We want to out execute them, we want to out hit them, we want to play the game longer than they do, meaning being in better condition. And it's going to be a good game. I mean, records don't matter when you're playing crosstown rivals. I mean, the bottom line is they're a very capable program of getting a win this Saturday night if the Olympians don't show up and compete to the standard of performance that we expect of them week in and week out.
Sure.
We preach every single week that our goals we want to know. We try not to concern ourselves with who we're actually playing. Outside of the game plan, obviously, but our focus is on being the best team that we can be every Saturday evening and preparing during the week to ensure that actually happens.
Sure.
And so the focus this week is going to be on discipline. We're going to make sure that we clean up the mistakes we made during the game. We're going to make sure that we clean up the missed assignments and the alignment issues. And obviously we had another game of too many penalties.
Yeah.
I think we had 190 yards of total penalties, which is way too many. And so we got to bring it. We have to tighten the reins a little bit in that regard and make sure we clean the game up and make sure that we execute to our level of performance. And I think we'll be excited about the outcome on Saturday if we're able to do so.
Yeah, it's that old saying, in football, conference rivals, someone that's in the same division, you just never know what happens because something always interesting happens when you're playing against someone across the street from you. So we're 3-0 now. Obviously there's a little bit of a swagger walking around with the football team and the program, and the school's proud of our start. But as you said, our goal is 1-0 going into this week. Now, what's the message of the coaching staff in order to make sure that our players are focused and not let that 3-0 start get a little, in other words, for these guys to get a little ahead of themselves? Because technically, what have we accomplished? We've done some good things, but we've just started. So what's the message to the players in order that we stay focused and hopefully come out with a victory this weekend?
Yeah, as coaches, it's our job to make sure that, one, we're getting better every week. Two, we have to make sure that our players are focused on the task at hand, which is this week's game. There's nothing more important than playing Grossmont Saturday afternoon.
Sure.
And so as we start the work week this week, all eyes are on Grossmont, and we're not concerned with who's after Grossmont. We're not concerned with the polls or where we get ranked or
Sure.
any of those things. Those things don't matter. We firmly believe that if we take it 1 week at a time, the rest of it will take care of itself.
Sure.
We can't control where we're ranked in the polls. We can't control what the media says about us. We can't control those things. All we can do is control the things that we control, and that's our mission each and every week, is to make sure that we're preparing to be successful on Saturdays. I'm a firm believer that games aren't won on Saturday. I believe games are won during the week and through preparation and hard work, and what happens on Saturday is just a result of that preparation.
Sure.
And so we challenge our boys to treat every single day, as prep for that test on Saturday. And like in school, if you don't study for a test, you can't go in there expecting to win or expecting to ace the test. It's the exact same deal for us. And so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are study days. We're preparing for that opponent, figuring out what they do and how we're going to attack them. And we're capable of going into Saturday expecting to pass that test if we've prepared appropriately.
Sure, and on top of that, as we talked about, is not letting records affect how these guys prepare. Grossmont started a little slow, but once we get on the field, everyone's 0-0.
Yeah, Grossmont's lost to some really good opponents, and they
Yeah.
played those opponents really tough. And so like I stated earlier, they're more than capable of beating us. And the bottom line is that we have to out prepare them and outwork them and out execute them on Saturday, and ensure that does not happen.
Well, Coach, once again, I love coming here and talking a little bit about Victory Monday. Hopefully we'll do it again next week. Grossmont College at Grossmont, a little earlier start next week. I believe at 3 p.m. start.
3 p.m.
And let's get them.
That's the plan. I hope to see you guys there.
Cool.